God, Rampage still feels good. I preferred it when it wasn't so spammy, but it still feels good. It really does. Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a look at the Fury Warrior. That is what it is all about, the big Fury Warrior. I love this spec. I think it's so fun. I'm going to give you essentially the same criticism I gave this, like all the way back in Legion, and they still don't seem to have really figured it out, is that it's seemingly still lacking that big ability that really highlights it. Now, that should be Rampage, but of course, Rampage happens so frequently that it's not that ability. It's not the big end product. You do it so often. And that's where things like Odyn's Fury really put like the cherry on top of Fury, and yet we still don't really have it. Although we did pick up a really good ability with the Spear of Bastion, does significant damage and keeps mobs where you want them to be. And you can go in there and you can bro storm them, do all those kind of things. That's nice. That's great. You compare it to ARMS, it doesn't quite have that meaty feel to it that it wants to have. You need the audio effects to really sort of feel how much of a meat grinder this spec is. And it is a meat grinder for sure. Notable changes are, of course, the addition of Intervene, Ignore Pain. We do have Shield Slam and Shield Block. Little bit odd. You need a shield, and you can't weapon swap, certainly like Mythic Plus and things like that. So, question mark, question mark, question mark over that one. Maybe defensive stance should just be like a given, and it equips you with some sort of temporary shield or something along those lines, so you can make actual use of it. But at the moment, I'm assuming it's an oversight. That would be a good idea. Like Shield Slam is like lit up, but Shield Block is like it doesn't really make sense. So it's something we definitely want to consider there. Other than that, the big return, of course, is Shattering Throw. Still breaks immunities, we did test this, but does significant damage on absorb shields. So you're going to want to look for these moments. Like the last boss in the first dungeon actually has a boss that puts up an absorb shield. So you're watching for that debuff so you can throw out the big Shattering Throw. It's no longer going to provide some sort of group-wide or raid-wide damage debuff, so you don't need to worry about that. You use it at your own will. But looking for it, and if you could squeeze it in, it's a big portion of damage. Like, on average, it's doing like 3k, which is a big deal these days, compared to a lot of other stuff. One thing I'd just like to say, there are some... Onslaught is a great attack that they've brought in a new talent. Makes it on the same tier as Frothing Berserker, which has had a slight rework as well. All these little tweaks and stuff that they've made are nice. Gameplay-wise, feels kind of the same. And for me, it's just lacking that big... there it is. That satisfying pop. That satisfaction to doing this, other than falling into the rinse-repeat rampage, rebuild rampage kind of build that we go for. That's the basis of it. But where's the big spender, the big results, the big payoff? Not seeing that just yet.